Right, hey guys, how are we doing? Back another video from Totally Not Mark. We are continuing with the One Piece reviews. We're on the final movie reviews, and then we'll check out the TV specials, and then that's all the reviews done. Boom, amazing. Let's just get straight into the third one, shall we?
In this video, I will be reviewing all of the modern One Piece films, finishing off Strong World and getting stuck in on some truly breathtaking films and stories from Film Z all the way to 2019 Stampede. With the added bonus
I've heard Stampede's decent, like, and then we've got a new one coming out, haven't we?
Film in One Piece's extensive catalog, a 3D film entitled Straw Hat Chase.
Whoa,
which,
what?
while looking like a PlayStation 3 game,
It
was
does.
actually infinitely better than the train wreck I thought it was going to. Oh, and also, by the time this video ends, I'll have finished all of the One Piece films. And let me tell you,
Crazy.
it wasn't easy. And to reward myself, I'm going to make this year's last video a Dragon Ball one, where I review the Moro.
Oh yeah, he was with the war. I remember that, and he loved it, didn't he? Yeah, I remember.
I present you with one of my most positive reviews to date. I'm Totally Not Mark, and these are my first impressions of, thoughts on, and review for the surprisingly sound, stupidly effective, and superbly animated modern One Piece film collection.
Go ahead. Yo! I've loved this opening for these. It's been quite funny. Like.
One thing I want to say from the outset here is that I understand that these are films that most One Piece fans are familiar with or have seen, and so because of this, I understand that these are often discussed and compared. And so today I will be sharing with you all which of these modern films I thought was the best, as well as my favorite overall. All of these films, Strong World, Film Z, Film Gold, and Stampede, were made with Eiichiro Oda directly involved, and to be perfectly frank, you can tell, as someone that spent a borderline pathological amount of time reading the One Piece story this year, one thing I've gained an appreciation for is the sort of magic Oda likes to inject into the worlds and stories he creates.
Definitely,
All of these films are heads and shoulders above the earlier One Piece films, with the only two that challenge them being movie 4 and movie 6 in my mind. Though
6 was mental by the sounds of it, like, yeah.
One Piece as these specific modern films. Whether it be Strong World or Film Z's fully integrated and fleshed out characters, Film Gold's superlative.
Oh, that's the. I've got a Luffy statue that has that costume on. So that's what it's from. Cool.
These 4 films, there's clearly something here for any breed of One Piece fan. So let's dive into the first of these Oda films by finishing off my review of Strong World.
Strong World.
Strong World is easily one of the strongest.
Yeah, we did the first half of the movie and the end of the last one, didn't we?
Last week I discussed the first half of this film and what I loved about it, from its animation to its setup to its dialogue and cinematography. But really that was just an appetizer, because the first half is effectively all setup. If the first half of this film is Water 7, then the second half is Enies Lobby.
Oh, cool.
It is
right.
all Climax. Something I was worried about going into this film was the significantly longer running time it boasted. Almost half an hour longer than most films like Film 4 and Film 6 were, and even longer than the vast majority of the earlier ones. But it really comes together in a surprisingly satisfying finish that felt more One Piece than anything I had seen up until this point, helped incredibly by the outstanding voice work of Mayumi Tanaka. This film's second half essentially explores the aftermath of the beatdown at the hands of this film's fantastic.
Yeah, he slapped them, didn't they? And then was like, "Nami, you're with me now."
Being the goal, they are there to rescue her after Shiki's declared that she is his navigator. And what's interesting is that very fight for Nami takes place in the very middle of the film. And for those of you that have followed along with this series, you'll know that I've mentioned this midpoint cutoff trope in narrative before. This is a writing technique used to help with pacing and to create tension moving into the second half of the film and the final act. And so, despite the goal throughout this 2-hour film remaining the exact same throughout, there's more than enough turbulence to play with.
There's a lot of stuff going on, yeah.
With the midpoint defeat at the hands of Shiki acting as a perfect alley-oop for Act 3 to slam dunk this big finish. And boy, does it slam dunk this big finish.
Big finish.
Nami leaving behind a message for her defeated friends to hear once they come to, reinvigorating us and the crew to storm Shiki's castle in the sky, saving Nami and to stop them from destroying.
Obviously, Luffy's just gonna be like, yeah.
Do they make good on that promise? As I mentioned, the second half of this film, despite a few moments here and there showing Nami making her moves to free herself, largely is centered around the incoming conflict between this monstrous Shiki and the lovable Straw Hat crew.
Hell yeah.
One thing I think this movie gets right more than any other is the One Piece walk.
The One Piece walk.
Something I'd like to share with you all is that prior to reading through One Piece, I had never experienced a hero walk on the scale of what Eiichiro Oda offers in his story here. And that's because any other film or anime I watched lacked them. Not even close, there were tons that included hero walks. Within this film, as Luffy and the Straw Hats march their way into the H has massively intimidated
That's
those around
cool.
them. It
Whoa.
helps to reaffirm this nostalgic side of a viewer, because we
Loving the
all know
suits.
where all of these oddball and outcast characters are from, and where their strengths and weaknesses lie. We've seen them go from being jokes that no one recognizes to being notorious around the world.
Hell
and that's
yeah.
a thing, for me at least, that is unique to One Piece. Oftentimes, anime and film will create these hero walks with really little behind it simply because they think it looks cool. And,
Yeah.
you know, it does. It does the job on a surface level. But what One Piece, however, does is this hero walk with enough substance to make you tearfully look on, like a proud mother.
Yeah, you're like,
Because
oh,
you've seen them all
I
grow.
love
It's a
them. Like,
ridiculously
they are so
satisfying
grown
feeling,
up.
simply because you get the satisfying
They've grown.
walk that aesthetically looks great.
Look at
but
them with all
has
those
this
weapons,
visceral
Jesus.
substance that One Piece so fervently offers time and time again. And the battle that ensues here after the dramatic walk is equally fantastic, with the subordinates of Shiki having already been characterized in a way that isn't just a brooding tough guy. We have an effeminate gorilla and a blue mime whose shoes make fart sounds whenever he takes a step. Once again,
What?
similar to Shiki, these guys
Cool,
offer the Straw Hats
I
into
guess.
such scenarios because of the characterization they've been granted by Oda. And what's more is this film from top to bottom has been gorgeous, with terrific animation both from an action standpoint, comedic standpoint, and a character acting.
Yeah, they said there was a lot of comedy in the
Zoro and
first half
Sanji
as well, which is like
specifically get a
nice
lot
to
of
have.
opportunity when it comes to comedic and action moments, which is another amazing part of why I love these characters. The fact that Sanji can jump from a comedic approach to a breakneck action in the blink of an eye is a testament to just what a fantastic character he is.
Yeah,
Even though
so well
Zoro has
written.
a much more stoic, one-note persona, that very aspect of his personality is utilized for comedic effect quite often in the series too. And these fight scenes they participate in are fantastic, but the fight that receives the most love and attention comes from Luffy versus Shiki.
Well, it has to, doesn't it? It's surely meant to. Like, he's the main guy.
Even more than he normally would be, taking specific issue with her not believing in him and trusting him. That very rage and anger that Luffy is feeling comes through in this film in a massive, and I mean emphasis
Yeah,
on
massive, yeah.
with Luffy in conjunction with the storm brewing in the sky, utilizes the fact electricity can't hurt him.
Oh.
And lands a massive thunder charge kick onto Shiki.
Whoa.
And ultimately takes him out of the entire film. The storyboard sets
That's
up
sick.
to look fittingly
That's such a cool
massive
idea.
and
Luffy's not
intimidating.
that stupid,
Truly
man.
an attack worthy of the king of the pirates. Overall, I honestly loved this film. It's got action, but doesn't use it as a crutch, has a specific story it wants to tell, does it brilliantly, has a great set of antagonists, and has such a wonderful sense of humor with an atmosphere that is distinctly One Piece. Specifically at the end, when the rest of Nami's message is revealed. She never gave up hope. She
Aw.
always believed in them to rescue her. Needless to say, I highly
That's cute.
recommend
Like, hey, you don't want, I don't want you to listen to that. You can't listen to the rest of that.
Straw Hat Chase. When I was composing this list of
Whoa,
films I had to
what?
watch and review for these videos, the 2011, less than half an hour long 3D film entitled Straw Hat Chase was a piece of media I was particularly
What
excited
is
to
this?
watch, specifically because I thought it was going to be awful to an almost absurd degree.
Right.
Weird 3D models, less than half an hour long to tell a story, and a title that reads as though it comes from a children's book. Straw Hat Chase was a venture I was certain would give me a chance to flex my inner
I'd be
brain much
put off
more
straight
than I had
away.
in the past with this series. There's a but coming.
But-
I was totally wrong. Totally unlike the artistically bankrupt, underproduced corporate sludge I was expecting this to be. Straw Hat Chase was brimming with character, made
Oh.
full use of its 3D nature with, dare I say it, gorgeous tracking shots. And
Whoa.
what's more is, it has a perfectly nice story that, while not big in scope, leans into the emotional aspects of One Piece instead, which offers it much more impact than anything like
Hey,
this
yeah,
had
they look
any
cool.
right to have. Essentially, the story covers the antics of a particular pooch acting on behalf of his dying master to retrieve Luffy's straw hat. Thinking it to be an impossible mission, he thought it should keep his beloved pet busy while he himself dies of
Oh.
old age. It's a sad angle
Whoa.
to tackle this story from, but it's a
Jesus.
lesson again as we see the humor that ensues when Luffy himself becomes more and more frantic, looking everywhere
For his
his
hat.
possession.
Right.
Throughout the short runtime of this film, the Marines become involved, there's a massive chase, some surprisingly fun action with humor, and an emotional core, the likes of which I wasn't even remotely expecting. I can't
God.
believe I'm saying this, but Straw Hat Chase is a film you should totally check out.
That's
It's
so
only
weird,
like
what?
25 minutes, so it's not a big time sink either. The
Interesting.
next and final three films, Film Z, Film Gold, and Stampede, are movies I watched all on the same day.
Go
I
ahead.
enjoyed all of them, though each each for very different reasons, with one I enjoyed less than the other two. So let's take a look. Let's jump in with Film Z. The very first thing that stood out to me in Film Z was its villain. Normally visuals catch my attention first, but at this point in history, One Piece is making more money than the Monopoly Man, and thus I expect all these modern films to look spectacular.
Yeah, true.
Implementation of 2D practices with some 3D thrown in to seamlessly enhance background special effects and, in some cases, character art. And this film does all of that as I expected, to a very high standard. However, what did interest me was its exploration into the tragic backstory of a disillusioned, estranged, one-time naval admiral. Z is introduced to us as this determined, no-nonsense brute with a moral outlook he adheres to an almost pathological extent.
Jesus.
Though that doesn't mean we don't appreciate his struggles and point of view. Through flashbacks, character interactions, and his own exposition, we come to learn his origin and the events that made him the cold killer he is today. What I found particularly interesting about him, however, is that while he commands the screen with the intent of a typical brooding tough guy, he very clearly has physical limitations made evident through his inhaler, his arm, and his age. Reinforcing the notion that he is a grizzled
There's
old
other
man
stuff going on, yeah.
past the days where he should be fighting, but this old man views his goals as worthy of dying for, which is a really intense villain to have, or lighthearted but determined crew to fight against, specifically because this Z guy right here wants to rid the world of pirates, with their very first ever interaction coloring this contradiction and complexity of the story really well. Luffy and the Straw Hats are pirates that save Z's life as they discover him as he lies motionless in the sea below. Initially grateful for this rescue, as soon as he learns who they are, a massive fight breaks out with some terrific animation incorporating his crew and the Straw Hats in battle. On top of there being a cool factor to a lot of these initial interactions, there's a healthy emphasis on the comedy in these exchanges too, with a specific highlight being the grass knots tying everyone up. This particular battle is interesting too, as Robin, Nami, Brook, and Chopper all fall victim to the evil fruit's power of one of his subordinates that makes everyone 12 years younger. It's a cool
That's a weird one.
and it's neat getting to see all of these characters either as
That's such a specific ability.
As an 18-year-old girl. And of course Brook, who hasn't changed at all. The plot itself doesn't have as many moving parts as something like Stronghold had.
How random.
Introduces the villain, he meets and scuffles with the Straw Hats, he inflicts damage, they look for more information about him so they can find him again, they find him again, he then wins the second fight and causes even more damage. This time taking Luffy's hat, and then the third and final time they clash, Luffy and his crew win the day. However, breaking down this film like that does a disservice to what this film is focusing on and what the film is trying to achieve. While not being complex on a plot level, the themes and character moments and exchanges explored and expressed in this film are easily its strongest suit, and perhaps the strongest in all of these films. While I personally found Shiki to be a more enjoyable character to watch Luffy go toe-to-toe with, that's just a taste thing. And Z offers Luffy an extremely different but equally, if not more complex and interesting dynamic. You might have noticed at this point that I've spoken at length about Z, the antagonist of this film, and that's with good reason. He is, in my opinion, the best part of this movie. The action is great, and I love the Straw Hats, but the tragic philosophy and damaged disillusionment Z brings to the table, painting every part as a traitor to
If you can make a villain interesting, it makes the whole thing interesting, really. I love a good villain. I really always have been a fan of a good villain, like.
In both a dialogue and action situation. Z is a tormented and depressed character that by the end I was massively sympathetic for. And through a specific flashback, as well as through Garp's own monologue, we learn about his past and how he slowly over time became more and more disillusioned as a result. He's clearly a man that has had a life wrought with struggle, tragedy, and loss. Driven seemingly at this point only by the sole desire to see all pirates fall. His body is giving up on him, his arm is missing, he uses an inhaler, and he clearly is suppressing his emotions through drinking. Heck, he has a subordinate that could very easily return him to his youth, but he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to live. He just wants to see this mission he has in his head through to the end, and that's harrowing.
Damn.
It's a sad set of circumstances, with sympathy eventually coming from both sides, the pirates and the Navy's higher-ups. What's more is that this film does a fantastic job at integrating pre-existing characters in Garp and other very important naval HQ higher-ups.
I like that.
As they comment on past events relevant to the film, as well as the man they grew up with in Z. In addition to that, the world building isn't a large focus, in most of the story taking place on a small island, but we also get to see Water 7's training operation, which is always cool.
That is
And
cool.
overall, I can
Awesome.
totally see how this is so many people's favorite One Piece film to date. It's got perhaps the most complex and interesting villain a One Piece movie has had thus far, some brilliant dynamics between characters, some fun comedy and powers on display, and the stakes are on a fittingly large scale, causing admirals of the Navy to get involved, even former admirals like Okiji. In other words, this film, it feels like a big deal through and through. From an action standpoint, things are pretty much as you'd expect. Top tier.
Top
specifically in the final
tier.
act.
Cool. It looks amazing. The animation looks boss in these like movies. Like, whoa, the tracking.
Fight scenes that are honestly breathtaking. Some of the very best in the series, I think. And this is coming from someone that hates 3D animation in his anime usually. But I think it works in this film because it's clear that it's not being used as a crutch. They are doing everything they normally would do with bonkers traditional animation while using the 3D effects to elevate it further.
It's like Ufotable, man. Ufotable are absolutely incredible at mixing 3D, 2D.
It brings me to the ending of this film. Music isn't necessarily something I feel comfortable speaking on just yet because it's not really my forte, but the implementation of music in this film is so emotionally rich, it simply begged me to give it a shot. There's this sailor song that's sung by Okiji and hummed throughout this film, and at the end it acts as Z's song he says goodbye with. He's a broken man that's just too far gone, and having played a large role in the lives of the admirals today,
Damn, they're all there.
one last training session. All the while the song plays in the background, this track effectively acts as the leitmotif of Z and his struggles. With him coming full circle now, accepting his fate, it's a tragically sad scene, and of all of the films, is one of the few that brought me to tears.
Aww.
Overall, One Piece Film Z is a powerful, action-packed, and emotionally rich, drama-filled ride that is fun, but also forces you to contend with darker subject matters. It is without question a movie that I highly recommend anyone to check out.
Damn.
Film Gold. One Piece Film Gold is a strange film, but not in a bad way. I thought it was really interesting watching One Piece give their own interpretation on a more American culture, specifically Las Vegas, and it's a pretty fun
cool.
In fact, I'd go as far as to say that in the case of environment,
Yo, very Vegas that.
this film does it better than any other film in the One Piece series. That, and there are so many characters in this movie that speak random pieces of English, it's honestly pretty funny. With that said, this film also boasted a perfect introduction, completely capturing the vibe of its story, the environment, and the characters involved, and how? Through song. The big part of this film goes full Disney villain and complete with a full song and dance number, gets across his motivations and personalities.
There'll be no mention of Karen around the whole room.
They get doused in a golden snow-like flake substance, and that's when we see it. The most massive ship in the entire series, perhaps even
Whoa!
a golden, shining ship, clearly taking inspiration from gambling capitals of the world, like Las Vegas, as I said. As mentioned prior,
that
also,
looks sick.
Establishment of the world has to be the best out of the series of films for me. We see cars and how they work, we see how people live, their buildings, the political and sociological structures, and the big boat has a golf course. Traditionally speaking, the story itself is fairly standard, at least when it comes to these films. The gang go to a place, the place appears to be fine until something bad happens, and then Luffy punches someone really hard to fix it. That's essentially this film, but there's a little more going on than just that too. The art direction, once again, is really fun, and the Straw Hats get different costume changes with new spiffy outfits. Luffy be rocking that shirt.
That looks cool. She's got Devil Fruit, I think. I've seen her in a thumbnail of Tekken 101's Phil Devil Fruits video, which I might check out now.
Once on the boat, cracks begin to form on the surface of this seemingly happy society as street urchins start begging for money and pushing their products onto the Straw Hat crew.
There's something bad going on in this nice place.
I'm not sure I'd go as far as to say that this film is anti-capitalist. Nami is still a character that wants money
all the time,
life itself. Though I do think a very pronounced aspect of the story deals with how those in power can squash the aspirations and opportunities of others if they lack the resources. With that very character obsessed with money being the main antagonist himself, I mean, he sang about that very aspect of himself at the beginning.
Go ahead, lad.
He really does help to reinforce the themes of this film, and really that's what I enjoyed about it.
The star earrings add to the whole entertaining persona for me.
In this film, so engaging. Everything that makes him who he is, from his philosophy to his morals.
He looks like he could be in Carol and Tuesday.
And everything about what makes this ship and, in effect, the world look the way it does. He has the power to control and manipulate gold, and because the environment is essentially casted in gold, the ship is effectively completely under his control.
Damn, that's
Really,
cool.
the Straw Hats are none the wiser to
What a
the circumstances
twist.
they are walking into until they end up losing their money in one big felt swoop before being cast into slavery. You see, what's interesting here is that has a subordinate that can literally take the luck away from anyone and thus, in effect, rigs Luffy's bet to lose.
Oh.
And really, once they get
So she has the luck
for
for it, right?
The battle's starting to get the ball rolling onto the third act. Of these fights, by far and away, my favorite was Luffy versus This thing is giving
He's just not
time
pronouncing his name right at all.
Boy, does it go on for a while. And I mean that in a good way. The way this storyboard powerfully frames as this massive, imposing figure with
Looks like something out of Tekken.
tiny, as he is no doubt facing a massive task in overcoming these insurmountable odds, all in an effort to liberate the people of this massive ship. There's some really nice strategy in play too, as Luffy uses seawater to cover the top of the ship.
Oh, interesting.
Use of the Devil Fruit's adverseness to seawater in an effort to loosen the grip as on his ship. And boy, does this work! It's great! Effectively removing the gaudy golden facade, leaving behind a grey and decrepit husk.
A lot of the music that's going on in the background is pretty cool.
And despite us getting context for how he came to be who he was, it's too little too late, and wham bam, thank you ma'am! Luffy utilizes Gear 4, crushes this golden golem, liberating the ship and freeing
Whoop
everyone.
whoop.
Overall, I actually like this film way more than I expected to. Despite not having seen any of these films prior, I did go in with expectations due to the conversation surrounding them online.
Hey,
I
Sebo!
knew Film Z was going to be amazing, but the impression I got from the community on this one was that it was supposed to be mediocre, but I actually ended up really enjoying it.
Personal preference though,
yeah,
I guess.
Story, phenomenally well animated, utilizing great 3D effects, and the themes really carried a ton of the weight in this feature. In addition to that, the film also boasts what I believe to be the best setting for one of these films to be set in. I mean, I swear, if I see another wasteland fight on a random island, I'm gonna pull my hair out, so that was fun too. All in all, I totally recommend checking this film out. Stampede. Stampede is a 2019 film that is effectively wall-to-wall nostalgia and fan service.
Cool. I've heard good things about this one.
Of all the films I've seen, visually this film sports my favorite art style. The thicker lines look phenomenal. Personally, I
Barto Club with the Luffy on the front boss all you man. That's hilarious.
So this was a welcome change. In addition to that, the animation in this film is brilliant also. For the most part, like most of these films, the premise is revealed to us almost immediately, with the Straw Hats announcing that they are on their way to a pirate fest.
Yay!
To participate in a treasure hunt.
Pirate
They arrive in
fest.
town, and not even 10 minutes into the film, as Buggy the Clown comes crashing into the picture, we begin to get a sense that this film will try to balance many characters from new and old
130
movies
characters and
into it as it
cameos.
possibly can. Some are
Awesome.
incredibly welcome, like Buggy and Law, but others, like the Foxy Pirates and King
Oh,
Apple,
no.
are there for essentially no other reason than for to make the movie say,
Hey guys, look! Reference!
Yeah.
perhaps that's being unfair. This is honestly way more fun than it is annoying, so I'll let it slide. The pacing of this film, too, is honestly quite good, specifically towards the first half, as there really isn't a dull moment to be seen. Between reintroductions and cameos from old characters to
Crocodile,
races
cool.
and capital A action, there's more fighting in this movie than the actual movie, and I mean that in a good way. The story itself is probably the most simple I've seen in a long
If you're gonna have a lot of action,
while.
make it a simple story, I guess.
But what's more is that this film also incorporates the worst antagonists of these modern
Aw.
One Piece films, in my opinion. This gentleman, initially released and discovered in Impel Down by Blackbeard, is effectively everything I mentioned that I dislike about the prior older films. He doesn't provide Luffy or anyone really with much of anything to converse with. He's got virtually no personality, and his
The rules
backstory
are cool.
is revealed until the movie is almost over. Apart from being a massively powerful individual, he doesn't really offer the story much, or at least not that I saw. And with the story being extremely simple in that they arrive on an island, they encounter the bad guy and now have to defeat him, the fact that he doesn't have much to him really made the film feel less important than it should have, considering how much it has going for it. Despite seeing footage of Roger and other massively important individuals within the One Piece world present in this feature, the story felt small and this antagonist felt virtually unimportant. Even though from a historical standpoint and plot level, he is super important. But by far and away, the worst aspect of this film comes in the form of the facade he assumes during the final fight, with all the wonderful CGI used in all of these films, including this one that I've praised. This 3D model is one of the worst I've seen.
no.
And with it being such a predominant part of this film, I thought they could have done a much better job. One Piece Movie 4 from 2003 had better 3D effects.
Damn.
And this Stampede film is from 2019.
It's only a couple of years ago, yeah.
But that's pretty much
Well, at the time when he's doing these, it would have been a year ago, wouldn't it?
So let's talk about what I liked,
But
because there's honestly plenty about it that I loved. As mentioned prior, there's a lot of fighting in this film. Like, people gave Dragon Ball Super Broly a really hard time for being almost half fighting, but I swear,
Mate,
this film is like
that film was
80%
incredible.
fighting. Personally, I was never one of those people that belittled Broly for having too much fighting,
Yeah.
and I won't be one here in this film either, because the action is honestly some of the best in the series, with some gorgeous colors and, of course, storyboarding. And on top of that, everyone fights in this film.
Everyone is
Some synergy
here.
from it. Zoro has some incredible moments. Nami, Brook, Chopper. We got Fujitora, Smoker, various admirals, Lucci, Crocodile,
Mates.
Sabo in all of his fiery glory. This is really a greatest hits of One Piece if ever I did see one. However, my favorite aspect of this film comes in the form of the treasure hunt incentive, and more specifically, the treasure itself. An eternal pose that leads to none other than the end of the Grand Line. Laugh Tale,
What?
home of the fabled One Piece treasure owned once by Gold D. Roger.
That's
Now,
huge.
if that's not a prize you want, I don't know what is, and, well, the conflict here comes obviously from the big bad, but also everyone, including the Navy, threatening to blow up the island in order to get the ultimate prize.
Oh, God.
That eternal pose. With so many factions, crews, and naval
How does that
personnel
fit in with the
fighting
story,
this film,
then?
it gave me endgame vibes with how many callbacks there were and how many unlikely team-ups we got to see. And once Luffy does win the day and finally gets his hand on the eternal pose, leading to his dream, I might add, in an effort to stop the fighting, he crushes the lava and puts an end to all of it, citing that since he's going to be the king of the
There
pirates,
you go. Cool.
he doesn't need this eternal pose, that he will find it on his
Himself.
own.
Yeah.
And as he says, this Boa Hancock swoons in the corner. I love that rationale with Luffy prioritizing
Yeah.
the safety of others while also highlighting his determination to get to the end of his own dreams on his own
Without
terms.
anybody's help,
It
yeah.
reinforces his character and was one of, if not the best character moments in the entire film, with his only competition in this specific department coming in the form of Usopp.
Yeah?
In this movie, Usopp is awesome. I might have liked it so much because it's been a while since I've seen Usopp do much of anything within Wano. However, in this film, he does, and really it's thanks to him that the big bad is actually taken down in the end
Cool.
amazingly. On top of Usopp's laments during this film over how he felt as though he wasn't strong enough to contribute, he once again finds solace in helping from afar as a sniper, reinforcing the themes of friendship alongside the themes
Sugar King.
Luffy deals the final blow, leading to chills running down my spine, as well as a tear filling my eye. But perhaps the most interesting part of the film comes at the very, very end, when we're greeted by a flashback to Gold D. Roger talking about the One Piece treasure, citing he was too early. What does that mean? The highs of this film
Whoa, what?
surpass many of the other films for me, but unlike the other films in this video specifically, it feels less like a story, but more like a spectacle, and I personally really enjoyed that
Cool.
part, but the villain just really didn't.
Yeah, it's a bit lame, isn't
With
it?
that
Like,
said, if someone were to tell me that this was their favorite film, I could see why.
You won't
There's a lot
say,
to like, but with that
what?
said, it's time to rank these films. Of the 5 films I've discussed today, my favorite is perhaps a toss-up between Strong World and Film Z. Though I think personally I had more fun watching Strong World, as it had a more complicated story that I could sink my teeth into. With that said, I think Film Z was the most emotionally powerful of these films.
You see,
so
give you a good villain, you gotta
go.
go, like,
Currently,
oh,
it's Strong
I'll
World, but
just
that
love it.
can very easily change by the day. Regarding the others, I didn't really
Boa
dislike
Hancock.
any of these films. I just disliked some more than others, and that one that I disliked more than the others was perhaps Stampede.
Wow.
I personally still rank it way higher than the other films.
So these are all
Take
decent
more
films then,
language
really?
out and remove the bad parts like the boring villain. But if I'm being fair, I personally enjoyed Film Gold more on a first watch. However, not by much. Stampede offered significantly higher highs than Film Gold did, so once again, if you were to ask me which my favorite between the two were, on another day, it could very easily result in a different answer, but for now, I preferred Film Gold to Stampede. And finally, given that Straw Hat Chase isn't a feature film by definition, it's way too short, I'm gonna put it in a separate category into and of itself. I think that's fair. Plus, I really enjoyed it. With that said, that concludes my review of the One Piece films. I hope you had fun, and I can't wait to review the Moro arc of Dragon Ball Super at the end of the month. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and now it's time for the One Piece specials.
Cool.
Wish me luck. I've been Totally Not Mark. I love you all, and thank you so much for watching.
Cool. Very cool. They seem like really good movies. That I like that The one with the... Because that, like, it made sense, didn't it? Like, hey, here's the eternal log pose to get to Laugh Tale. It's like, what? And then he just destroys it. It's like, okay, yeah, obviously he can't... They can't have that existing, because from my understanding, these movies don't exist within the main storyline of the actual manga. I could be wrong, but I know there's people out there that probably try and figure out how to fit it in. People did it with the Dragon Ball Z movies at the time, didn't they? So yeah, cool. I'll check out the TV specials, and then I'm going to try and catch up with some more One Piece so I don't get spoiled with the Checkered Fate, and then we'll eventually check out the Checkered Fate. Thank you to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of every video I upload, links in the description to the Patreon page. $1 a month is all I ask to help support the channel. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you guys for that. And thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos, and I'll see you guys next time.